Hey guys, and welcome to another video. I know I've kind of been lacking recently. I had the Cujo video posted, and I haven't really done anything since then. I have like a bunch of new stuff coming out. I have kind of like an esports style, like UFC 4 Fight Sports League, that I will be using with ESBC when that comes out as well. It's gonna be a little more produced. Nothing scripted, but it will be more produced than esports in general. It won't just be the fights. It'll be like press conferences, cinematics and commentary and all that stuff. So it's gonna be something a little fun. Today we are reacting to the new ESBC Esports Boxing Club gameplay trailer. I know I've been a little behind. I haven't really talked about the I've been paying attention, but I haven't really been making videos for you guys on it, which is my bad. If you come to the streams, we talk about it, but I haven't really been posting anything to the YouTube channel. Now, they did come out with saying Canelo is a part of the game, Muhammad Ali and Roy Jones Jr., and I think they're talking about Mike Tyson as well. Canelo is my favorite current time boxer, so I am very happy that he is in the game, so I can finally use him in some kind of sports game where he's like actually a part of it. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this.
Hi everyone, it's Ash again at Steel City Interactive. This video is our July development update and a walkthrough of the gameplay. I know you've all been looking forward to seeing this, and we're really excited to show you where we've got to. So in this video we're going to take you through a number of in-fight mechanics. We're going to talk about our launch plans, and make sure you stick around till the end because we have a fighter reveal that we think you're going to like.
They're kind of doing the same.
I also want to say thank you to the boxers who agreed to be in this video.
Layout beforehand.
So whilst we were pleased with the feedback we'd received from our March gameplay footage, we knew there were still many items to fix and upgrade, and I'm delighted to show you the progress of that now. As you can see, there's been some significant improvements to our overall venue, lighting and crowd. So throughout the rest of this video,
okay, so I'm gonna pause it
as you
during
can see,
parts so I can kind of take a breakdown of each one instead of stopping at the end talking for like 15 minutes. This way it's a little easier for you guys to follow along. Already it looks better, but this is something I have said from the very beginning. I think most people have the same opinion. Is this game looks beautiful. It's, in my opinion, probably the best graphical we have seen, best game graphically that we have seen when it comes to sports. 2K maybe is the runner-up, but even then I still think this is better. But it is, but that's saying something. An indie company that was started out as an indie company is now making something that looks better than 2K or just as good. It's miles above what EA has ever come out with, and anything THQ came out with. I mean, THQ, granted, they haven't really made anything in a long time, and technically speaking, their games were almost flawless. I wouldn't say flawless, but like they're pretty fucking good, especially for the time they came out with. So, but like graphically, this is definitely the best we've seen at any sports game. I'm looking at the texture in the clothing, the waistbands and the crotch protectors and the gloves. I mean, look at the Venom gloves. There's two different textures on the leather alone. There's the shiny part, and then there's like kind of like the glossy part, which is amazing. Look at the pores, the sweat. I mean, look at their ears, the sweat rolling into the folds of the ears. Tattoos look like they're scanned on correctly and not like in EA. They're kind of like a little too they don't have like the opacity filter turned down a little bit as much as they should. In EA it's kind of a little rough. Here, let me turn down the fuck. I need to turn down the hue and saturation for you guys because it's a little much right now. Looks fine. Okay, I just wanted to turn down the hue a little bit. It was getting a little much. I might have to turn up. Alright, this looks okay. I did edit the camera a little bit so you guys can see it exactly how I was. I have it changed for Call of Duty automatically. I have the hue saturation and the contrast built up a little bit, but That's bad. You kind of see a little more what I'm seeing. The tattoos look very nice. They look natural. They don't look like in EA how it's kind of like stickered on almost. Like if you look at someone like McGregor, for example, or like Poirier, the tattoos just kind of look like they're placed on. Doesn't really match the skin color underneath. And this is something that it's a big game changer. You know what I mean? Which it's weird because like the tattoos in the Creative Fighter in UFC are amazing. You know, and they actually look better than the tattoos on the fighters that are actually there. So it's kind of unfortunate the skins are that low quality compared to something that these people can do. But it's beautiful. I like the depth of field that's shown in the background, the texture of the ropes. Everything's very nice. I do hope that you can change the camera angle because this is a little close up for me. I like to see the full body of my fighter, you know, but this is nice.
There's been some significant improvements to our overall venue, lighting, and crowd.
The footwork looks beautiful too.
So throughout the rest of this video, you'll be able to see the actual controllers in each of the corners. We've put this in there just so that you can see the responsiveness of the fighters in the game. It's an area that we've put in a lot of effort because the responsiveness of the controls was incredibly important to our footwork system, and same with the punch control system.
I also have to say, like, graphics wise, look at the people in the background. The scans of the people that are in the foreground right there, like you see like right below the Venom thing, those scans are pretty much the same quality as a regular UFC fighter scan. That's kind of ridiculous. You know, both in a good way for ESBC and a very bad way for EA. You know, like the fact that they're a AAA company and the scans from a background character is the same quality as your main characters, it's not a good look, to be completely fair to you. In the movement, I like the delay. You know, it's responsive enough to where it needs to be, but there's a delay to it, like, because it can't be exactly responsive. It can't be perfectly responsive, or else it's gonna feel too arcadey, right? It has a slight delay on it, which is a good thing because it gives weight to the people. It gives them, you know, because if you move back and forth and like pivot and change direction very fast, you're not gonna immediately just go from bop bop. You know what I mean? You're gonna stop, and your weight has to shift to the other side of your body, and that slight delay kind of gives you that feeling, which is a very good thing.
So putting all these aspects together, we needed it to flow. So here you'll be able to see exactly how responsive the fighters are. And we're incredibly happy with the results so
significantly
far.
better than UFC's as well, which I believe
Before
is
we
the best
continue to the next
movement
phase,
that's been in
we'd just
any
like to say that the
fight sports
referee
game.
is going to be replaced with the legendary Kenny Bayless. So I'm sure you'll all be as pleased as we are that there'll be no more Mr. Generic referee
I also
in
like
our
how it
future
kind of looks
videos.
like a ghost. It's kind of funny.
So Ethan, our gameplay programmer, will take...
Okay, so these are the controls. I hope you'll be able to change up these control schemes. I saw a screenshot of this on Twitter, so this is the one thing that I kind of like. Well, two things. Okay, so the fighter showcase at the end was kind of spoiled for me on Twitter as well, but I'm not gonna spoil it for you guys watching if you haven't seen it yet. But this was the other thing that was spoiled for me, which was the controls. Now, there's some combinations here that kind of remind me of the UFC. It's kind of weird to me that they're using the left analog stick for head movement instead of the right. I hope there's you can control your own kind of thing. Like, I hope there's like you can customize the controls, or at least have different presets, right? Because I don't think I want to like use my what's it called, my left analog stick for that, especially if I'm using it for like moving. And I mean, I know they're using the right analog stick for the classic Fight Night feel, and also give you the options of the punching, but I hope they let you change that so you can use the right analog stick for head movement, because that's not ideal to me. I mean, I'll get used to it either way, but you know, I would like to be able to customize these controls, like button for button would be perfect, but like at least come up with some different presets that kind of give me the option to use the right analog stick for head movement.
Take you through the fight mechanics. Please note that none of this is final as we continue to develop ESBC.
So the movement system is split into various states, allowing for full motion control, where pushing the analog stick all the way produces quick steps and halfway has smaller steps.
Thank
But the transition is very
God.
seamless.
Oh my God. This is something that I have been asking for in UFC games since they came out. Like, because it fakes out your opponent, right? So like it's kind of the same thing almost as like a feint, but like with your whole body, right? It's like if you use a feint, you're trying to get them to bite on that thing to give the reaction that you want, so you can set up the next punch, right? But this one is almost like if you slowly walk in, right, or you, and then you suddenly dart in and out, right? Because they're gonna be used to a momentum that you have. So if you're walking for pretty much the whole time, where you're slowly walking, or like maybe you have low stamina and you can't dart as much, or like you just use a dart real quick, you're gonna bait them to throwing a wide hook or like or something to leave them open, right? So this is something that I've been looking for a long time, and I'm glad someone's actually implemented this.
And this is all part of our footwork system, allowing for angles to be created. However, it's all about the momentum of your fighter. Your fighter will shift their weight from one leg to the other. They won't just instantly float in the opposite direction.
It's a very good thing.
So we're really excited about this new feature that we've put into the movement system, and it's giving the player the ability to showboat and actually display some of the mannerisms that some of the marquee fighters will have. So if you've seen Roy Jones Jr. fight, I'm sure you're probably thinking now some of the things that you might be able to do with a fighter like Roy Jones Jr. or even Muhammad Ali. So it really opens up the possibilities. This feature is toggled by pressing up on the D-pad and moving the left stick around in the direction that you want to go.
Okay,
So what this does is it brings out some
switching
unique
stances.
movements for the boxer. This is a combination of showboating
Punches
and the
look
odd
different
feint
too.
within the movement. This is all part of the boxer's personality. Some boxers will have more feints in their loose movement, some boxers will have more of a showboating style. Here you can see
he's
Lawrence
bouncing
Corley
now.
feinting a punch, but then lands a nicely timed left hook.
His
This
stance
is something that's
consistently
toggled
pivoting.
seamlessly, going from loose movement back
Now
into
he's
your
back
normal
to
stance,
flat-footed.
and vice versa.
This is very innovative. Now, this is what I wanted to see. I didn't want to... Okay, so when they came out, started saying they're going to make this, I didn't want just, like, a remastered Fight Night, right? It's like, they don't want to be seen as just, like, EA 2.0. This is good. They're coming up with ingenuity and, like reinventing shit. Like, making things of their own that's going to, like, kind of hold to their marquee, you know, which may not be perfect in this first game, but maybe in the second game or the third game will be like, their trademark thing. Right, that maybe UFC will even take and put in their own thing. So this is something that I am very excited about. I also I'm a big creative character guy, and I think I talked about this in the last one, which I also have a video coming out soon, which I will be doing like kind of a character creator wish list for this game. I'm trying to reach out to some of them on the Discord and Twitter, hopefully see if I can get an interview with one of the devs or someone related to the team, and I can maybe talk to them or offer suggestions. But like, I guess I'll put my suggestions out there publicly and hopefully get some traction or anything, or one of them sees it or anything like that, you know what I mean? Because I'm trying to just make the best game possible that I will have fun playing, and I know a lot of other people will as well. Like, when it comes to customization, there's never too much you can do, ever. I think you need to dumb it down as in presets for some people that don't want to go into that, but I don't think there's ever too much for people to do. Now, that being said, I do hope that you can choose like who you want that for your loose footwork, I guess is what we're gonna call it. Like, so like, can I choose Canelo? Can I choose Roy Jones? Can I choose Muhammad? You know what I mean? Can I choose one of those people as my created character's loose movement style, or is there gonna be preset loose movement styles that are just kind of generic? That's kind of the question.
This is something building out for some of our marquee fighters in the game, but overall it adds another level of realism and tactics into the mix within ESports Boxing Club. Dodging punches will also be possible by flicking the left stick in the direction that you want to go. Combining this with time counters will be key. However, this isn't a case of just...
Also, one thing that I need to say something about is they changed. Those are my biggest gripe with the gameplay, were the punches, the way they looked, but I knew that was going to be fixed. The punches look a lot better now, but my biggest gripe was the reaction to getting hit, right? When they got hit with like a large wide hook or a straight, the head wouldn't really snap. You know what I mean? They would just kind of like move slightly and go back. It wouldn't really snap all the way if they got hit with a wide punch. They wouldn't really react to it. And I'm seeing a lot more of that now, and I'm very, very impressed with this, because this is something that like was my biggest thing, and it would have taken the immersiveness completely away if you hit someone with a wide overhand or a large straight, and their head didn't move at all, but they were somehow wobbled. You know what I mean? So like I'm very glad that this is the case.
Initiating a dodge when you realize a punch is coming, you have to anticipate the punch, learn your opponent's patterns and fight styles. Here you can see Lyndon Arthur dodging Lawrence Accordi's punches.
It looks very nice too. It's very
However,
smooth.
if you do it too early, you could get yourself into trouble.
And I like
so
that
timing
a
is
lot.
key.
So there's not a lot of
Also,
spammers.
dodges will look different depending on which fighter you select. The marquee fighters will have a different style. Activating the loose movement modifier will also change how your dodge will look, as you can see here.
So it looks like the dodge uses some stamina. The head movement does use stamina, but it's not nearly as much as UFC's, right? Because that was one of my biggest issues with UFC, was that I use head movement a lot when playing that game. And it's hard to use it. I mean, like, because there are people like that say, oh, you can't do it when you're tired. Bullshit. People use head movement a lot more when they're tired than otherwise. Like, a perfect example, people make fun of Conor McGregor, right? People make fun of his head movement. I mean, not his head movement, but his cardio all the time. He is like widely known to have really bad cardio after this. Oh, I just hit my computer. Widely known to have really bad cardio after the second round. And if you watch him in every fight that he's been in, when he's tired or when he's hurt, he resorts to head movement. So I think this is something that UFC needs to fix. And I'm very glad, you know, I personally believe that you shouldn't use any stamina for head movement. You know what I mean? I think it's not that big of a deal. As long as you can't spam it. Like in here, you get punished badly if you get hit while using head movement. UFC, not really, unless you have a low head health. But I do think... what was I talking about? But I am very excited about this. You know, I think that's using a small amount of stamina works for the game.
Another move in the player's defensive arsenal is the ability to weave. This is activated by holding down the left trigger whilst moving the left stick in the direction you want to weave. So here you can see Lyndon Arthur dodging some of Lawrence Accordi's punches. It can also be used as a tactic off the ropes, and you can also block while you weave as well. Here you can see Lawrence Accordi hitting Lyndon Arthur with some counter shots, whilst Lyndon Arthur's throwing a lot of punches using a lot of stamina. It's clear to see here that Lawrence is playing a defensive game, trying to make Lyndon miss as much as possible so that he uses up all his stamina. This is because the stamina has a big impact in terms of punch resistance and the power of your own punch.
Which makes sense.
In addition to being able to weave, players will also now be able to slip punches by pushing the left stick in the direction they want to perform the slip. This is a very quick and efficient way of dodging punches, adding to your defensive game.
Hold on, I'm gonna look at that control a little more.
On the slip. This is a very quick and efficient way of dodging punches,
changes from
adding to your defensive game.
To slipping. You know what I mean? Like how does it differentiate that? That might be an issue.
So the block system in the SBC has two options. Fully manual, which is 3 points on the head, 3 points on the body, left, center, and right. But you can block by holding down the right trigger and moving the right stick.
Again, the innovativeness is crazy.
There's a semi-automatic mode as well, which will require you to block either the head
That's
or
what
the
everyone's
body.
going to be using. Everyone's going to be
We
using
feel by
semi.
having both of these options, players who want a deeper simulation can select the manual mode, whilst the players who prefer for a more arcade feel can select the semi-automatic mode instead. So we're pleased to confirm that players will be able to throw punches whilst blocking. Whilst these punches aren't as powerful as throwing a punch without blocking, it opens up another aspect of defense for the player.
Thank God, because that is a huge issue in UFC. So, in UFC, all the EA UFC games, pretty much the whole meta is block, throw punch, right? But like, even though you can't necessarily throw a punch while blocking, going back to the block immediately is the whole meta. And this being the case, this makes it to where, you know, you can throw blocked punches, but it also incentivizes you to throw heavy punches and kind of put yourself out there a little more instead of hiding behind the thing. So I think this is
You can
very,
throw a
very
jab
smart.
and a straight whilst holding the block button and flicking the right stick, selecting the desired punch. So combinations play a very important role in ESBC. Each fighter has a total of 42 punches, so you have to be able to put these together. Whether they're from your front foot, the back foot, where it's going from their head to the body, or whether it's stepping away. So combining this together had to feel satisfying. It had to be seamless, where you're able to pick any punch you want, throw it from any angle you want to, and put together at least
okay,
two
so it's open
different
combinations,
punches into a
which is-
combination.
Thank God. You know what I mean? I don't. UFC's closed combinations is just not it. For
So
me.
because flash knockdowns and one-punch knockouts exist in ESBC, you have to really
Ooh,
pick
the
your
animation.
shots. You can't throw too wildly, and you can't leave yourself open, because if you do so, the game will punish you for not taking into account your opponent's playstyle. So right now we're working heavily on individual punches and custom
Animations are
movesets.
very clean.
Here you can see Lawrence Okoli throwing his jab, his right hook, his left hook, and it looks distinctively different to the other fighters in the game. So this is something we're focused on. We want to allow players to pick and choose certain punches from different movesets to essentially create their own for their own fighters.
Okay, that's what I was looking for. I was looking for them to say this. So now, does this mean that like it's not just like, so in Fight Night there was punching styles, right? You chose Pacquiao or like Tyson or someone, or Power or Speed. Does this mean that like I can mix up the individual punches, right? Where I look at a jab and I'm like, oh, well, I'm gonna take the jab from, let's say, Muhammad Ali, but I'm gonna take the cross from Canelo, and I'm gonna take the hook from like Roy Jones Jr. Does that mean I can do this? 'Cause if so, that'd be crazy revolutionary.
So I'm now going to talk about one of our main philosophies
And
in
if
the
it
studio,
seems well
which is
together, like it
innovation.
like all blends,
One of the things
that'd
we
be
wanted
insane.
to recreate in ESBC was the ability for a fighter to be dangerous even whilst they're hurt. You might want to rush
Ooh,
in and
that
try and finish them
animation.
off, but as we all know, in boxing, one punch
Beautiful.
can change everything. So
I like
whilst we're
that as
talking
well.
about innovation, I want to
Punishes
take you
people
through
for
some
being
of the career stats that we've introduced in ESBC. So this covers everything from health to stamina, conditioning, agility. We do have a couple of
A lot of attributes
interesting
which I
stats
enjoy.
that haven't really been done before in combat sports. So we have
Bruise
a
resistance, cut
discipline stat, and we
resistance,
also have a confidence stat.
different
Now, whilst
power
this was a
per
very
hand, which is
UI-driven part of the game,
so
we've
good.
decided to start developing an interactive career hub.
Ooh, that's interesting.
So I'd like to talk to you about our development journey and launch plans. We recently had some very exciting news regarding additional investment. This means additional resources to focus on areas we didn't
Looks like it's
think
probably
possible
Venom.
until
Because
after
I saw the
early
gloves and
access.
thing, and I didn't see Venom as one of the sponsors.
Now we did have
beforehand.
plans to launch early
Unless
access
it's like
this
a different
summer.
actual
Because of the massive expansion of the game,
sponsorship.
the roster, the expectations, we have to
Man,
make
the
sure we
gloves
do
are so
justice
pretty.
to the names, whether it's Muhammad Ali, Canelo Alvarez, or the upcoming reveal. We can't rush something that we know everybody is excited about, including us with our own high expectations. So what this means is the early access window for this summer won't happen. Now I realise
figured
some of
it's
you will be
August.
disappointed by that. We also realise it's been 10 years since the last licensed boxing game, which has been frustrating for those of us who love boxing. That's the primary reason this studio was created. What we cannot do, and what we won't do, is rush for short-term success. That's not the kind of studio we are. We want to do this right. This is why
Respect
we're
that.
not going to announce a launch
That's what we
window.
want to hear.
The next announcement on this topic will be a specific release date. I'm hoping you can see the progress we've made in this gameplay video and the passion for what
Yeah.
we're trying to achieve. I'm
I
now
do at
going to
least.
hand you over to Todd Grisham, who has something he's been waiting to tell you about.
What's up, everybody? I am Todd Grisham, and I'm here in Sheffield, England at Steel City Interactive as we continue to build the greatest fight video game of all time, ESports Boxing Club. This is the 1024 scanning studio, 180 cameras, the most state-of-the-art equipment you can possibly find. You've seen the footage. You know how good it is. You've seen the fighters we've managed to sign, right? Terrence Crawford, Roy Jones Jr., Muhammad Ali, the list goes on and on. Canelo Alvarez, you know the names, but there's one that we've somehow managed to keep a secret. How? I do not know, but the secret is no more. I give you, ladies and gentlemen, this man.
And now, here is the former unified world champion and the current popular, undefeated, and reigning WBC ring and lineal heavyweight champion of the world. Introducing the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury!
All right. So, final thoughts. I think this is going to be a very good game. They have improved on everything they were saying they're going to improve on. They've improved on everything that people have asked them to improve on. And they will not release anything unless they feel like it's finished. And they've made that very clear. They've said it time and time and again, which I respect 100%. Very clear they have a lot of passion into this, which is a good thing because we don't get that in the fighting video game world very often. Yeah, overall, I am very excited about this. I've a lot of my concerns were kind of addressed here. The only one I am having an issue with is not seeing full gameplay. I really want to see like a full boxing match, or at least 1 or 2 rounds of actual gameplay between 2 people, to see how it kind of plays out. But yeah, overall this is a very, very promising. I'm excited, and yeah, I mean, if you guys enjoyed the video, if you want to see more content on ESBC, subscribe, leave me a like, and leave a comment. It helps with the algorithm, get the video out there, and yeah, see you in the next video. Thank you.